Welcome back, Shalloners, and welcome, Swifties. Today, I want to break down Taylor Swift's new Vogue cover interview, why it's just like a festival of red flags in terms of victim mentality that we've talked about with her before, and also how we can dismantle our own victim mentality. Because I know when I've spoke about it before, you guys were like, I see myself. But first, just want to remind you guys that if you have a love question of your own and you want to talk to me privately, find me on the Instant Go app. My username is ShallonXO and click chat to get connected. Also, find me on Instagram at ShallonXO, where I let you choose the next video topic and weigh in on the angles, and listen to my new podcast, Girl on Top, every place podcasts are found. So Taylor's Vogue interview. Oh, brother. I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't this. It is just like, okay, the first half, a solid half of a multi-page Vogue interview is about Taylor Swift's view on gay rights. Is that a question we have all been asking ourselves as a nation? So at some point she says wait, I have to find this because I want to quote her for real because it's so it's just so self-aggrandizing. So this whole interview was self-aggrandizing and the embodiment of victim mentality. Okay. And listen, I understand that obviously in an interview, you're going to talk about yourself. That's kind of the entire point. But if you can't speak about yourself without that victim narrative, we got a problem. But first, let's tackle this gay angle, because her song, You Need to Calm Down, she released as her words, anthem for the gay community. How about people can choose their own anthems? Okay, maybe Taylor doesn't serve it up in a silver platter. Again, it's just very self-mythologizing and self-aggrandizing. And especially since the video was filled with all these Easter eggs about this and that. And it's I know that that's fun for fans. It's oh, you're deciphering little clues and it's something more interesting. But it all plays into that, the self-mythologization, self-mythologizing. I feel like my brain's shutting down, that she does for herself. And a lot of times when people mythologize like that, there's a huge victim narrative component, because what does every good story have? A sympathetic main character, right? So this is what she said. She's I was in the car with Todrick Hall. I guess he's on Kimmy Schmidt or something. I could not stand that show. And I was so upset I didn't like it. And he asked me, what would you do if your son was gay? The fact that he had to ask me shocked me and made me realize that I had not made my position clear enough or loud enough. If my son was gay, he'd be gay. I don't understand the question. She doesn't stop. She does not stop. If he was thinking that, I can't imagine what my fans in the LGBTQ community might be thinking. It was kind of devastating to realize that I hadn't been publicly clear about that. I'm bisexual. My fellow gay community adjacent people and my straights, how many minutes of your life have you devoted to thinking about Taylor Swift's stance on gay people? Mine would be 0 to 0.07. Not a lot of minutes. I assume she is pro-gay. I've never seen anything to hint otherwise. But this is the pathology. It's she thinks everyone is just waiting to know her thoughts on something, which is indicative of a mindset that everyone else, this is her world and we're all just living in it, that we're all just Sims, kind of in this stasis, waiting for Taylor to activate us with her truth, with her action, with her interaction with us as society. Girl, no one gives a shit. I'm thrilled that you are in support of gay people. That's wonderful. And now we can move on. But the fact that half of this article was devoted for that, Taylor, you're also not gay. If this was about a different issue, Black Lives Matter, I strongly doubt that an interviewer would allow her to speak about it for this long. So it's okay, well, you're not Black. So maybe we'll talk to a Black person because they're out there. We can find some. Same with the gays. You can find a gay. I don't know why Taylor Swift has to be the mouthpiece for this movement. And again, it just feels very self-aggrandizing and very, very calculated. Because when I first heard the title for You Need to Calm Down, and the beat is so catchy. It's a good song, but I'm like, I wish it had been about other things just than gayness. Like she could have touched on so many social like issues, like the pay gap, the gender equality thing, gun violence, like people screaming about like right to lifers. Like there just could have been a lot of things that she could have been like, you need to calm down. But the fact that she made it only about gays, to me, that's because that was the most monetizable. You know, like Lady Gaga's fan base is hugely part of the gay populace. She is a gay icon. Same with like Cher. And it's obvious that Taylor wants to jump into that. And she wants to jump into that because straights are fucking sick of her. I mean, we're not. Like, I love Taylor. But it's like after the whole Kim and Kanye voice recording receipts thing, it's like, oh. So I feel like she's looking for any port in the storm in terms of like PR. And she's like, I know. I'm going to align myself with other people who feel disenfranchised, like the gays. But you're not, Taylor. You're not. And you don't understand the gay experience. I mean, I fully even, you know, I'm a party lesbian. I've told you guys. It just feels very like pandering. It just feels pandering and like annoying. I mean, I guess I'm glad she's standing up for some social issue, but like, I just feel like there's bigger fish to fry, and it would be nice if she was like out frying some. So this is the other part that I found very, very, very interesting. I keep scrolling through this article and she's still on the gay rights thing. Okay. It's just so, why is anyone asking her? Who cares? Okay. Now she starts talking about what I actually care about, which is, like I said, the Kim and Kanye receipts thing and how Kim called her a snake. And then Taylor like made the snake her symbol, and there's like snakes all over the Reputation album. And the reason I didn't like Reputation is because it was just so hyper specific to her own particular experience of being in a feud with Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, you know, and like I personally have not feuded with them. And so it was hard for me as an album buyer to like get on board with these themes because they weren't even metaphors anymore. They were like so literal. And so, of course, this is where her victim narrative clicks in. She says, what does she say? I don't think there are many people who can actually understand what it's like to have millions of people hate you loudly. When you see someone is canceled, it's not a TV show, it's a human being. You're sending mass amounts of messages to this person to either shut up, disappear, or it could be perceived as kill yourself. Taylor, I actually do understand what it's like to have people say, you're canceled, you're a bitch. You have no idea the hate I get on this channel, and you don't see it because I have comments filtered out with certain words because I don't want you guys to see it. I don't want my younger readers to see it. I don't want anyone who might be having a bad day and who comes to this channel looking to get lifted up to have one asshole write something that might pop that balloon of happiness that you're trying to get off the ground. I don't want to see it either. Like, I understand it. And how often do I talk about it? Never. Why? Because nobody cares. Because I've done this to myself. This is the profession I have chosen. I choose to say what I say on here. I choose my persona. I choose my outlook. I choose the consequences. And the consequences are not everyone's going to like me all the time. And I have 1/1,000,000th of the popularity that Taylor Swift does. And it's just like, girl, people are getting shot at fucking garlic festivals. Do you really think you deserve any kind of pity in this world? Really? And also, what the funniest part is, she brings this up without acknowledging the fact that she was wrong. Like, she got caught in a lie, slandering someone else. It blew up in your face, baby girl. Like, I'm sorry. That's just, and she's just like, I needed to make music. It's the only way I could survive it. It was the only way I could preserve my mental health and also tell the story of what it's like to go through something so humiliating. But I would have had so much more respect if she had finished that sentence with, going through something as humiliating is picking a fight that I eventually lost, as like trying to make something about me that like I just shouldn't have even gotten involved in because I was plain wrong. She didn't. Again, it's the victim narrative. So in a way, even when Taylor loses, she wins. Because to her, her definition of wins is this victim mentality confirmation, you know? And it's so strange to me because I think of her as such a strong woman and such a good business person. And like, I've hung out with her. She's really fun. She's lovely. But there is this undercurrent of victimization. And it's so weird to me. It's so weird that it just, I keep thinking like, this is the interview where we're just not going to hear any of this. And it's like, she cannot help herself. So what does this have to do with the rest of our life? What can we learn from this? Well, I was reading like other things she was saying about like getting over this. And it's like the unnamed scandal, you know, like I said, she won't like put a name to it and be like, yeah, when I was like shitting all over Kanye West and Kim had like receipts and recordings. Sorry, I'm just overheating. Oh, do you like my shirt? It's my friend Eliza Schlesinger. She's a comedian. This is her merch shirt. It says Eliza with a dragon. I love it. I'm tired. I look terrible. Just close your eyes if you're going to listen. Just turn your monitor away. It doesn't matter. I look bad. I'm basically in my pajamas. We're doing it. So what we can learn from this is like how to get out of that victim mentality ourselves. Because one thing Taylor said later on is like, she didn't do any interviews for the Reputation tour because she was so emotional that like, she didn't know how she was going to be feeling hour to hour. Like 1 hour, she was really like grateful kind of for the experience of like this, you know, the unnamed experience, like the great shame. We can call it the great receipts, the great cancellation. And then like the next, she would just be like, huh. And I was like, okay, that actually really resonates because when we go through something traumatic or certainly embarrassing, like think about when you slip and fall, right? Like first, I don't know about you, but for me, the first thing I do weirdly is like look around for someone else to like make eye contact with. It's like, I can't slip and fall in a vacuum. Like I need someone to be like, you fell. Even though it's going to make me feel worse, like I need that. It's so weird. So you fall and at first you're like, oh, and then you laugh and then you're like frightened again and you're embarrassed and you're in pain. You're laughing it off and you're like, oh, but I'm in pain. It's just this weird, like concentrated roller coaster of emotions. And that's the same as when we go through something in our personal life. We get in trouble at work. We get dumped. We get humiliated. We post a topless selfie by accident and it stays up for 2 hours, whatever it might be. And so the thing I think we can take from that is to feel all those emotions. That's how we get to the other side of it. It's the process. Because if you only want to feel the emotions that like seemingly self-aggrandize you, you know, it's like, I only want to feel, I'm just the victim. I fell down and hurt my bottom. Okay, you're not working through the whole process. You're not seeing the good sides then. You're not seeing any of the gratitude. You're certainly not seeing how you contributed to this. And therefore, you get caught in that victim mentality loop because I talk to you guys about this all the time, like why you can't get over a breakup, why you can't get over a fuckboy. It's like the thing you can't move on from is not what he did to you. It's what you did to you. It's how you contributed to the scenario. And look, I know, gross. I don't want to think that I had anything to do with my own bad outcomes. I don't want to be the co-architect of my own misfortune. No. The world is against me. Me. Literally, one of her songs is called Me. Like, enough. But when we do that, when we do that inventory and that autopsy on whatever the great shame is, we can learn from it, we can dismantle it, and we can start to move on, right? And it's interesting to me that Taylor, and hopefully she has in her personal life, but the fact that she won't speak about it fully tells me maybe she hasn't. The fact that she'll bring it up at all, like touch on it at all, but not really talk about it. It's like, because I think the thing we all fell in love with Taylor was how honest she was. Like, well, we thought of it as honesty at the time. Now we see it as, you know, the victim narrative. Where it's like she was talking all about how John Mayer dumped her after like having sex with her, all about how Jake Gyllenhaal sent a bracelet instead of coming to her birthday party. Like all of these things that were so specific. We're like, we connected with that rawness and that realness. And now everything feels very, very curated. And I get that that's just kind of a byproduct of being in the public eye for this long. Like you don't have the luxury of that naivete, but we in real life do. You know, Vogue is not going to come knocking down the door. We're not going to have a tweet misinterpreted by 135 million people. We can exist so much more in a psychological vacuum to our own benefit than Taylor gets to. So look at where your victim narrative, like what category it's in. Start there. Is it a family thing? Right? It's like, my parents don't like me. They like my sister. Okay, well, how are you playing into that? Maybe they're baiting you, but are you taking the bait? Do you do things to subconsciously create and stay into that narrative? Do you get worse grades to like confirm to yourself, see, they love Hannah more than they love me? Does it happen in your relationships? Of course he left me. Well, are you driving people away? Because at the end of the day, the common denominator is us. And that is gross. It's gross. Nobody wants, like I said, none of us want to be the co-architect of our own misfortune. But even less than that, you don't want to be a victim because it gets fucking old. It gets old. It's boring. And it doesn't get you anywhere. And Taylor, yes, she hasn't gotten to where she's gotten by playing the victim, but she has monetized it. That's really good. So like I said, sit down and look at where this might be coming from in your own life. Then do that really icky autopsy of what you're doing, like the emotional payout you're getting. What is it when these things happen? Do you kind of what tape loop in your mind? What self-talk is that victim narrative supporting? I'm worthless. I'm worthless. Okay, well, what are you doing in your life that confirms that either with the outcomes in your own life or in your own head? Because once you even just identify it, it is so much easier to untangle. It really is not as hard as you think. And a lot of times we think that leaning into our issues means we're leaning over a cliff, a bottomless abyss, and we're going to fall into it and we're never going to get back out. I know. But like I always say, it's like pulling out a splinter. It's going to hurt at first. It's going to be oh, but you recognize that pain is going to go away, and then you're going to be healing, or at least in pain in service of healing down the road. Right now, you're just kind of in pain. And if you're not in pain, girl, everyone else around you is, because they're over it. I want to know what you guys think about Taylor's interview. If you think she seems super woke, if you love that she's talking about, the gay community like she is, if it feels sort of pandering and machination-ish, or what cause you would love to see her get behind. And I just want to hear from you guys in general. If you want to talk one-on-one, like I said, find me on the Instant Go app my username is ShallonXO, and click chat, and follow me on Insta at ShallonXO, where I let you pick the next video topic. Talk to you later, Swifties and Shalloners. Love ya.